Good morning, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing today? I am your host, Goldie Ranks, first mate of the Gold Fang crew. And today, we are going to bring you the news on One Piece, chapter 1107. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So we start this chapter where the last one ended. We got Dory, Broggy, the giant warrior pirates. They about to make landfall on Egghead Island. They are here. They here to pick up the Sun God, the Straw Hat crew, and they about to shit up. So we got Dory and Broggy. They call out to Oimo and Kashi. They like, hey, take the rest of the crew, go around the sides, wipe out any ships you see. Oimo and Kashi like, all right, cool, we got this, let's go do it. We got the giant warrior pirates on land. We get a nice spread of all the giant warrior pirates. We got Dory, Broggy, Oimo, Kashi, and all of their crew coming in behind them. They just attacking ships. They on land. Marines are talking about, hey, the giant warrior pirates are here. We can't let them get in there. Blast them to smithereens, man. Man, it's a lot going on. This chapter has a lot going on. There's a lot of events happening, and it's just banger after banger after banger, event after event after event, setup after setup after setup, and we gonna keep going with it. Cause as the giant warrior pirates, as Dory and Broggy are making their way inland, we see Usopp looking down. He sees them. He sees his masters. He sees Dory and Broggy, the giant warrior pirates, and he's overwhelmed with excitement and joy. He's weeping tears of joy. He's like, what are they doing here? How did they get here? I thought they were on Little Garden. And we got Nami, Edison, Chopper. They right there. They seeing them too. Chopper, he don't know Dory and Broggy, but he know Oimo and Kashi. So he's like, hey, my boys. And Nami's like, well, I guess Oimo and Kashi went and picked them up, from Little Garden sometime in between when the time skip first started and right now. So we got Edison, and he's like, well, it's no wonder they're here. This is big news. I'm sure they rushed over after they heard the news. And then Usopp's question, like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I'm sure this is like the biggest force the government has mustered in a long time. Of course, there'd be a big event. Of course, news would have already reported on it. And the Straw Hats are like, oh, wow, so this is already big news. And Usopp, he has a realization. He's like, they came to help us. They're not here to wage war. They're not here to fight this big battle. They're here to help us escape. We got to get out of here as soon as possible. Are we ready? And as he asked this, we cut over to Brook and Lilith on the Sunny, still sliding, skating on the ice highway Brook done made. And Brook is talking to Nami, and he's like, hey, we're close. Because Nami asks, how close are you? He's like, close, very close. But I'm afraid we won't have time to stop for tea. Because they can't stop. And Lilith smacks Brook upside the head, and she's like, we need to stop. If we fly off the side, we'll be fried by the barrier. But then she gets on the comms, and she's like, hey, I need you to listen. I have an idea. So, what we have here is setup. Lilith has an idea for how to stop the Sunny, or at least how to prevent them from crashing into the barrier. But we can't focus on this too long. We must continue, so let us keep going. We then cut to Jinbei, and he's using the little flying Dom shoes to fly around the island. He's looking for Zoro and Lucci, and he's like, wow, it sounds like things are heating up down there. We gotta hurry up and get out of here. And then basically he starts musing to himself. He's like, Zoro, this was the wrong time to pick a fight. Then we cut over to where Zoro and Lucci are, right? We get a clash. Zoro and Lucci clashing. As they break apart, Zoro's like, you're pretty tough, but I'm in a hurry, so it's time I wrap this up. To which Lucci replies, oh, that's something only a winner could say. It seems to me like you don't understand that you about to die. that your crew was about to be stuck here waiting on you because they can't cut off the arm to save the body. Honestly, you might as well go ahead and give up because there's no use waiting for a dead man. Now is there? To which Zoro replies, wow, Lucci, the way you talking, it would seem like you think you're the one in control of this fight. Now, we're going to focus on this for a second because, you know. So, Zoro is here fighting Lucci. Now, I want y'all to know a couple important factors here. Zoro does not have the bandana on, which means he is not taking this as seriously as he could. He is not using 3-sword style. He is using Nitoryu 2-sword style. And there is no indication of Conqueror's Haki or King of Hell being used. There's no green Haki flames. None of that is being used. Lucci is in his awakened form. And Zoro is not pressed. From the dialogue to how he is fighting this battle right now, we can tell that Zoro is not going all out against Rob Lucci. And this is telling because what he said with his last reply to Rob Lucci, it would imply that Zoro is getting ready to wrap this up. Because he understands that this is the time to go. I don't want to hear, oh, he can't beat Rob Lucci. He's having a hard time with Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci is a tough fighter. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's not fodder. He's not a scrub by any means or any stretch of the imagination. But if you look at how Zoro is fighting this battle, you can tell I'm keeping him busy. If I want to, I will end this. But I can't stay here too long. We must continue. So, let us move forward. We then cut to a pacifista laser destroying a Marine battleship, like wiping it out. We got Marines on the comms. They're like, oh my goodness, give us a status report. What's going on? Someone says, we've lost roughly 30 small and medium-sized ships. So this is 30% of this force that has come to blast this island has been wiped out. We then cut to Admiral Chen's, Vice Admiral Chen's, whose name is Red King, and he's giving orders. He's like, hey, get the small ships to the back, bring the battleships up front. We can't afford to have any openings. We can't afford this. We can't afford this. We need to fight back. Continue to blast this island. And then he muses to himself, this is pitiful. How pitiful for the Navy to be forced to fire on their own weapons as they fire at a pacifista and we see the pacifista being taken out. Now this is important because this force is being dwindled down, not only by these pacifistas, but by the giant warrior pirates that have now arrived on Egghead. So, these Marines are now fighting a battle on 3 fronts. You got the Straw Hats, you got the pacifistas under Bonnie's control, and now you have the giant warrior pirates coming in to mess shit up too. Now, this is important for many reasons because there's a 4th team in play here. There's a 4th faction, a wild card faction, if you will, and we will get to them in time. But first, we cut over to Luffy, and I'm gonna tell you, y'all not prepared for this stuff right here, but we gonna get into it anyway. Let's go. So as I said, we have cut back to Luffy's group. And Luffy is bouncing. He's just, doing his Luffy thing. And he's like, hey, Bonnie, what's with the tears? What's going on? And Bonnie's like, why wouldn't I cry? I've been looking for you For so long I've searched for you. And Luffy's there, he's, being Luffy. He's like, what do you mean? I've been here the whole time. What are you talking about? And Bonnie's like, yeah, but I didn't know you were Nika. And Luffy's like, Nika? What's that? But he quickly brushes that aside and he's like, hey Bonnie, by the way, I seen that punch you tried to throw earlier. That joint was weak sauce. What's up with that? She's like, well, if it was so weak, I was only because I was trying to do what you do. I was trying to hit a big rubbery punch. But since it was weak, why don't you show me how it's done? And then Saturn hears this and he interjects and he's like, man, none of y'all have the right to live. All y'all cockroaches is about to die. Luffy's like, ha, you're wrong. But that sounds like a good idea, Bonnie. So let's wind up this punch. I'll show you how to throw a punch. You feel me? That's what Luffy says to Bonnie. Then Saturn, in his infinite wisdom, decides he's gonna attack Luffy with this little staring thing he does. And it hits Luffy in the face. And Luffy, he coughs up a little bit of blood. But he's still winding his punch up. And he goes right back in and he's like, hey yo, this is what you get for hurting my friends. As he says, gum gum. Then we see Luffy tagging this man in the face with a new attack called Booming Dawn Gatling. And he is lighting this man up. We see the reaction of Bonnie. We see Kuma's face, who I believe, even in his cyborgian, non-emotional state, I believe he is shedding a tear of joy. And we see Vegapunk smiling weakly upon the ground as he bleeds. Watching Luffy deliver the fists of justice and liberation and freedom to this man's face. Man, it's a sight to see. It's a sight to see. But we must continue. We cannot get held up here with Luffy delivering punches to this man that are much more than well deserved. We must continue with our coverage. So, let us continue. As we see Saturn go flying, we cut. Not a hard cut, but a minor cut. Over to Frankie, Atlas, Bonnie, and Vegapunk. Frankie and Atlas are like, hey, we gotta get out of here. We can't stay here. Atlas is like, hey, as long as we're on the island, these shoes will work so we can fly up out of here. So, Frankie grabs Bonnie, Atlas grabs Kuma, and Bonnie's like, come on, Vegapunk, we gotta get out of here. And Vegapunk's like, go without me? I've been a doctor long enough to know if I move right now, I'll die. So, they go. They take Bonnie and Kuma, and they are making their escape. But, before that can happen, Kizaru comes up and he's like, it's too late. Y'all about to die anyway. And he fires off a laser. But before the laser can connect with its targets, we see Sanji coming in, blocking that laser with a kick. To which Frankie and Kizaru are both shocked. Frankie even says, what? That is a laser, my guy. To which Sanji replies, with his eyebrows switched around so his Germa powers are activated. Sanji replies, well, love is more powerful than light. To which Kizaru replies, well, I guess we're gonna have to rewrite the physics books then, because this makes no sense. So, Kizaru lands, Sanji lands, and Kizaru says, well, this is a pickle. Now, I guess you know They are going to expect me to bring your heads in after all of this. To which Sanji replies, as Luffy is bouncing up and down next to him laughing, as he lights his cigarette, well, I guess you gonna have to start writing an apology letter then, huh? And we got Sanji, the German warrior of love and science, next to the warrior of liberation and freedom, Sun God Nika Monkey D. Luffy, facing off with Kizaru right now. But we don't get any more of that because we gotta cut to the wild card faction. Let's continue. We then cut over to Saturn, where he's been knocked back by Luffy. He's under some rubble. He's, Saturn. So, we then see a foot step in the frame. And he's like, oh, well, what do we have here? It's not every day you see one of the 5 elders down in the dirt. Saturn looks and he starts to throw the rubble off of him. He sees who's talking. It's Katarina Devon. And she says, what kind of interesting power do you have here, sir? I mean, honestly, it's not every day that a 5 elders is seen down on the surface world. But honestly, this makes our job so much easier as she taps one of his spider legs. And lest we not forget that her power is indeed similar, if not superior to that of Mr. Two Bone Clay. As she touches him, she says, mission accomplished, and we see that right next to her is the boy, the warp sniper man, Van Augur. Now Saturn, he sees this and he's like, well, what are y'all doing here? What's going on? Honestly, Devon, I'm surprised that you, a level 6 escapee, would be a subordinate to anybody. To which she replies, teach is special. To which Saturn replies, as is his lineage. So, not only does his crew know about Blackbeard's special body, special lineage, but it seems that at the very least, Saturn of the 5 elders knows as well. And if Saturn of the 5 elders knows, why wouldn't the rest of them know? What is this secret about Blackbeard that everybody knows but us? We must find out, but we don't find out today. But Saturn continues on with this and he's like, well, your crew is always up to something. What is your goal here? What are you going after? To which Van Augur replies, the world, of course. And this seems to tick Saturn off because Van Augur looks, and then Saturn tries to attack them. But right before his attack can land, Van Augur warps him and Devon right up on out of there. Saturn's left stewing in his own thoughts and rages. First Nika, now Teach. Nothing has gone to plan as he has planned it today. I'm sure he's somewhat irate, but we don't get to see his further reactions because now we cut over to where Augur and Devon have teleported. They are still on Egghead Island, but they are in a different location. And Devon asks, why didn't you just teleport us off the island back to the ship? And he's like, well, I haven't fully mastered the power yet, so this is as far as we could go right now. But as they are about to leave again, we see in the distance Mudman Caribou. And he comes running. He's like, wait, please. You guys, please, take me with you. I became a pirate. My name is Caribou. I became a pirate because I look up to your Captain Blackbeard. He's the reason I'm a pirate. Please, just take me to meet him, please. This is funny, scary, and also extremely relevant because this man Caribou has information, like high tier, high level information. He was there on Fishman Island. He knows about Poseidon being Shirahoshi. He was there after Wano and on Wano. He knows that Pluton is there in Wano country. And he's about to willingly take this information to the one person we do not want to have this information. But we don't see the reply of Devon and Augur this chapter. All we do is see Caribou begging, acting very Bartolomeo-like for Blackbeard. I would go as far to say that this is Barto's equivalent on the Blackbeard side. Man. And this, my friends, is where this chapter ends. And we will be back with more coverage of One Piece. And we will continue to keep you updated on the goings-ons of Egghead Island. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Goldie Rings, first mate of the Gold Fang crew. And this has been the Sly Report. And this was the news. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will be back next week. Same time, same channel, same place. So, have a wonderful day.